Hola Clase. As you can probably see, I am not here today. So I am going to just go through a few things for you to let you know what you have to do for class for today so we can keep moving and not fall behind. So just remember next time today is clase día cuatro. So it may be martes or miércoles when you see this, but just check your schedule. You're going to be looking in the uh, schedule we follow, which is in Schoology, and that will just show you the same document. So we're doing basically comenzar expresiones de emergencia, and then we're going to do a little practice. And then your tarea for tonight, you should do 2 to 3 Quizlet activities. Make sure that you did join that Quizlet class. And you're basically going to be using the expresiones de emergencia. So you can do any that you like just to practice. And so if you like, for example, if you go into Quizlet, and you like, what game do you like? So just kind of choose, like, do you want to do fichas? Do you want to do aprender or probar or combinar? It doesn't really matter. You may actually have some time during class today at the end. So just complete that before I see you next time. I can actually see your progress. It shows me like which activities you've done. So just make sure that you complete them before I see you next time. So that's your tarea. Remember, you're having a very short quiz next time I see you. Even if I'm not in class, you'll still have the quiz. I won't be able to do the alphabet where I say the words, but you'll still have a letter underlined, and I'm still asking you some personal questions from the introducciones. So make sure you study those questions. You can test each other if you have time at the end of this class, but that's what I'm quizzing you on next time I see you. So for now, we are going to go into these expresiones de emergencia. You should, if you can use the Cami copy if you want of this. If there's not enough copies in the classroom, I'm just concerned that there might not be enough. You can pull that up. It's actually in Schoology. So if you go into Schoology, and you can pause this video if you need to, and you go to materiales de clase, it's the same for Español 2 y 3 for the moment. And then you would just pull up these expresiones de emergencia y la circunlocución. So you could either do it on Cami, or there should be a document in the front of, it's actually under my computer. It is under my computer keyboard. So if you grab the document under the computer keyboard, it should be the same document that looks just like this. So if you have a copy in the classroom, just grab it. If you prefer Cami, you can use Cami, but we're just going to fill in the notes now. So you were supposed to basically go through and just review the expresiones de emergencia for today's class. So let's just do this together now. So if I want to say, can I, if you know it, say it out loud now and just say it, even though I'm not there. That should be puedo. So for example, I could say puedo tomar agua or puedo ir al baño. So puedo, if we want to say can we, so we could say, so this is actually a boot stem changing verb. So when I say puedo, that's inside the boot, and puedes, that just means that the O changes to UE. So that comes from the verb poder, but this is considered to be a stem changing verb, puede. But then outside of the boot, it's actually podemos. So there is no stem change outside of the boot, but once you're back in, it's pueden. So it just means that most of the conjugations change, but for that one, it's going to be podemos. That's actually considered to be a stem changing verb or a boot verb that we're going to study soon. To get water, so these actually come right from the Quizlet cards. So if you had those in front of you, you could also use those. Puedo tomar agua or beber agua. So either one would be fine. To open the window. So if I want to say, can I open the window? I would say, puedo abrir, to open la ventana. Or I could say, puedo, to close the window. That's going to be puedo. So that goes along with this. Puedo cerrar la ventana. La ventana is the window. And then close the curtains. So we have cerrar again. Cerrar las cortinas. Cortinas are curtains. And if you look behind you on the cortinas, you're going to see the word cortinas back there. I labeled the classroom to help you. To go to the bathroom, so that should be puedo ir or podemos if it were 2 people, but usually I let you only one at a time. Ir al baño. And then you could say ir a mi armario. which is your locker. Puedo ir a mi armario. So if you want to ask me that in class, you should say that and not, can I go to my locker? To go to the office, so you could say like, puedo ir a la oficina. And if you're going to Mrs. or Mr., so you could say like, puedo ir a la clase de Señor Corbett, por ejemplo, or Señora Puntoriero, or Señora Milson, por ejemplo. No problem. So you could say like, no pasa nada, no hay problema. So a lot of people say problemo, no problemo. So that's actually, es muy incorrecto. So you could say, no hay problema. Or you can also say, no pasa nada, which is like, no pasa nada is like, it's all good. Like, no problem. Are there any questions? I'm just going to switch colors here. So you could ask I again, because that's there is or there are. ¿Hay preguntas? No, no hay preguntas. So then we're asking, is there a quiz today? So we're going to use that verb I again. It's very versatile. Comes from the verb haber. So we could say, hay una prueba hoy. Una prueba or una pruebita hoy. Una prueba hoy. And if you can't read my spelling, you can always look at your Quizlet cards. Is there homework today? So you could say, hay tarea hoy. And then take out your homework. We would say, saca la tarea. So here's the deal. When you're talking about one person, you're talking to one person in Spanish, typically you use the la usted form of the verb. So for example, we have sacar is to take out. So I'm just going to use saca because that's the la usted. If I'm using the plural of that, usually it's going to be, you're going to switch it over to, if it's an AR verb, it would switch over to almost like an ER, IR verbs endings. So for this one, it would be saquen. So I couldn't say SACEN. It's the ellos form of an ER or an IR verb because it would be sacen. So because of that sound preservation, it's saquen. So this is for more than one person. So this is for one person. You want to know the singular and then the plural, saquen la tarea. To put away. So our verb is guardar. So the same deal as what I just said. So for one person, we want to say basically the la usted form. So we would say guarda. So guarda your homework, for example. So put away your homework. I could say guarda tu tarea. And then, or la tarea. So now, again, what's going to happen is you're going to take the AR verb, but you're going to kind of switch it over to an ER, IR in the ellos form to talk to the plural. So instead of guardan, it would be guarden. Guarden. That's how we do commands in the plural. Guarden la tarea. So it almost takes on like an ER, IR if it's an AR. But if it's an ER, IR, it takes an AR. And we're going to look at an example. So this is escribir, same deal. So what's the la usted form for the singular, for one person? That would be escribe. But then if I'm talking, so if I say like escribe to one person, that's for one. But if I'm talking to a group, I'm not going to say escriben because that means they write. I'm trying to tell people to write. So now I need to switch it over. It's an IR verb. I'm going to take the ending for an AR verb in the ellos form. What would that be? Think about it for a minute. That should be not escriben, but escriban. So kind of remember that. It's a little trick for commands, telling people what to do. Translate. So the verb is traducir. So we're going to do the same thing. Traducir is to translate. If I want to say translate for one person, I would say what? So think of la usted, and then for an IR verb, that would be traduce. And it's a little bit of a spelling change for the plural, so I'm going to write it here for you, traduzcan. So that's going to be for more than one person, for a group. To say read out loud, so if our verb is leer, how would I tell one person to read using the la usted form of leer? Just in the present tense. If you need the poster, it's above the lockers in the front. So that would be le. So now I want to tell a group, that's for one person. If I want to tell more than one person to read, like a group, what would I change it to? if it's an ER verb, we want to use the ellos endings for an AR verb. So it's like we switch it over. It's not leen because that means they read. We want to say read, tell someone to read. That should be lean. Everyone following me so far, hopefully. Where is your homework? So the verb where in Spanish, you always have accents on question words. So you say, ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está tu tarea? Or maybe you say, ¿Dónde está tu papel or tu cuaderno? To turn in an assignment, this is going to be entregar. Entregar una asignatura. That is an assignment. Una asignatura. So, but entregar is really what I want you to know here is to turn in. So if I say entrega tu tarea en Schoology or entreguen su tarea en Schoology, repeat. So the same thing, repeat. So it's repetir, but this is actually an E to I verb. So it's a little stem change. So instead of repeto, it should be repite. So it changes E to I here for the singular. What's the plural? So if I want to tell a group of people to repeat, it's an IR verb. Let's switch it over to more like an AR verb in the ellos form. That would be repitan. Because of that stem change, it goes E to I. Sit down. So this is considered to be a reflexive verb. So it's sentarse. So we're going to, instead of just saying sienta, it's going to be siéntate. So siéntate. So you can figure out now how to tell people how to do stuff just by following these little rules. And that's because this is an E to IE verb. That's why that IE is there. So if I want to tell a group, got to switch it over to more like an ER-IR verb. It's going to be siéntense. So that's why it's EN, because it's an AR verb. Stand up. Same thing, it's levantarse. Levantarse. So instead of just levanta, like levanta la mano, it's going to be levántate, because it's you, yourself. Levántate. And if it's a group, so do you know your reflexive pronouns? Me, te, se. Do you remember these? Nos o se. So if I want to tell a group, I have to switch it over to an IR verb, because in the plural, if I say levanten, or levantan, perdón, that would be they get up. We want to say get up. So it would be levantense. Levantense. Levant. Y con ese E con acento NSE. Levántense. Raise your hand. It would be levanta la mano. You don't say tu mano usually, levanta la mano. And if we're talking to a group, what would we use? Levantar for the group. Levanten, because levantan would be they raise their hand, but we're trying to tell people what to do, like commands. Levanten la mano. Answer in Spanish, we have contestar, which is to answer. So for one person, I would say contesta. And for a group, I would say contesten. Contesten en español. En español. What does something mean? So if I want to know, what does burro mean? So I can say, ¿qué significa? Anything you want to know in Spanish, what something means. ¿Qué, like, what does it signify? ¿Qué significa burro? And I would say donkey, right? ¿Qué significa alfombra? ¿Qué significa falda? Right? So, and then I would just answer what that word is. How do you say donkey in Spanish? So I would say, ¿cómo se dice? Anything you want to know how to say. ¿Cómo se dice donkey en español? ¿Cómo se dice rug en español? ¿Cómo se dice skirt en español? So this is just a way for you to ask, how do you say? Is there? So we know that I is there is or there are. So we can say like hay clase or no hay clase. There is no class. So we'd say like no hay clase mañana. No hay clase mañana. Hay clase hoy. Are you ready? So I know that you said that Señora Testa would say listas chicas to you all the time. So estar is used with this. So we would say estás lista? Are you ready? Or if it were a group, I might say, ¿Están listas, chicas? So, ¿estás lista? And then to be ready would just be estar lista or listo. I don't understand. No comprendo or no entiendo. So, entiendo or comprendo. Entender is to understand. Comprender también. I don't remember. So, you can say no recuerdo. No recuerdo cómo se dice donkey in español. I need help. So you don't always need the yo, but you could put yo. Yo necesito or just necesito ayuda. Por favor. Ayuda is help. I don't know. You can say no sé or no lo sé. I don't know it. No lo sé. Attention here. I would say to you in la clase, atención aquí, por favor. Atención aquí. Bless you. So I say salud, but I also say salud, dinero, and amor, because I like to kind of add and be a little dramatic, like health, love, and money. Salud, dinero, y amor. So if you say that in class, it'll make me smile. To take notes, so I would say sacar apuntes. So if I talk to the class, I might say like saquen apuntes or saca apuntes. So it means to take notes. To be going to. So that's usually ir plus a plus infinitive. An infinitive just means an unconjugated verb. So I would say like voy a estudiar. So you're going to use a form of, do you know your ir forms? So maybe just jot it down if you forgot. So voy is I am going or I go. Vas is you are going. Hopefully you know your six pack, how to set it up. Ella, usted would be va, he or she goes, or usted, you. Then we have vamos. So vamos a estudiar. We are going to study. So here you have your plural, and here's your singular. So first person singular, voy. Vamos is the plural of that. We go. And then you have vais, vosotros, if you use that for you all. Vais tomar agua. And then van would be for ellos, ellas, ustedes. Usually I put the subject pronouns in for these guys because there's so many different ones it could be. It could be my neighbors or them or they or my parents. So I usually add the subject pronoun. For the other ones, you don't really need them. Yo voy. Voy just by itself means I go. And then to have to is tener plus que plus infinitive. So that's another little construction that we use in Spanish. So you could say something like tengo que dormir. I have to sleep. Do you know your tener forms? If you don't, just jot them down. So you have yo tengo, I have. Remember, this is an E to IE verb, so it actually changes to tienes. ¿Cuántos años tienes? And then tiene. But then outside of the boot, just like the other ones, it's going to be tenemos. Tenemos que estudiar doesn't change. Tenéis and tienen. So those are your forms. So tengo que dormir, tienes que ir a la iglesia, you have to go to church. To come forward, so I might say adelante. I say that a lot in class, like come forward, or pasa adelante, like come forward. So those are your expresiones de emergencia. And there is more to these notes. You're gonna see some of the circumlocution, but we won't do that today. I might be giving you some more notes from this forum, from this video recording, but not for today. Okay, so you can either grab a whiteboard now, and you'll see the whiteboards in the back of the room, and you can grab a marker. So let's just do this little slideshow here. Hopefully there's a teacher in the room with you, or you're doing this on your own. So I'm just going to ask you cuál es la expresión if you want to pause this video and just grab your whiteboard. So you necesitas un pizarrón, una toalla de papel if you have one in the room. Someone might grab them from the bathroom, and a marcador. So pause this video, grab those materials. If you don't have the toalla, it's okay. You're going to actually have to erase a lot, so having the toalla could be helpful. So if someone wants to grab some toallas, there might be some pañuelos también, like the tissues from the room. You can grab those too. So the first thing I just want you to do is your teacher wants the whole class to open their books. So you're just basically going to write the expression down on your whiteboard that you have in front of you right now. You can pause this video to just write it and then give the answer. get the answer. So don't get the answer before you write it, please, because I want you to actually practice. So that one would be abran los libros. Because it's abrir, and we actually use it as like an IR verb. An AR verb because it's abrir. So we're going to switch it over to the ellos form of an AR verb, abran. So again, pause the video. You are cold and want to open the window. How do you ask for permission? You would say, ¿Puedo abrir la ventana? Pause the video before you get your answer. Your teacher wants you to know if the class has any questions. What would she ask? She would say, hay preguntas. Hay preguntas. And you would say, sí, tengo una pregunta, or no, no hay preguntas. What if your teacher wants one person to write in Spanish using the verb escribir? Remember, we're using the LA usted form in the present tense for that. That would just be escribe. Escribe en español. If it were a group, it would be escriban because it's an IR verb. Your teacher wants the whole class to take out their homework. Pause this video before and write your answer and then check it. It should be saquen la tarea. So again, this would be usually SACEN because it's an AR. We're switching it over to an ER. But because SACEN would be SACEN, that QU goes in to preserve the sound saquen la tarea. Talking to one student, it would be saca la tarea. The teacher wants one person to translate to English using the verb traducir. How would you say that? Should be traduce al inglés or traduzcan for the group. Your teacher wants to know, where is your homework? What would she ask? Pause this video before you reveal the answer. ¿Dónde está tu tarea? Accents on all question words. You don't know something you are asked. So how would you respond if I said, oh, ¿cómo se dice living room en español? No sé. Or no lo sé. Someone sneezes in class. Salud, dinero y amor. Or just salud. Or Jesús. Some people say Jesús. You need help. What would you say? Please pause this video. Necesito ayuda, or yo necesito ayuda, por favor. Your teacher wants your attention. What does she say? She says atención aquí. Remember, all words that end in ción are feminine, la atención, and they're always have an accent in the singular. They lose the accent in the plural, so atención aquí. You want to know how to say the word car in Spanish? So you would say, ¿cómo se dice car en español? And I would say carro or auto or coche a veces. You want to ask if we have to take notes. Do we have to? What would you ask? Don't forget tener que infinitivo in the nosotros form. Please pause this video. Tenemos que tomar apuntes. You want to ask if we are going to watch a video today. Remember, ir a infinitivo is to be going to do something. Pause this video. ¿Vamos a mirar un video hoy? O vamos a ver un video hoy? Ver or mirar both mean to watch or see. And that's it for today. Actually, if you want to challenge yourselves in grupos de tres, take turns being la profe. So you're going to be me and giving tus estudiantes commands that they should follow. Try to use all of the expressions. You have about 6 minutes. So I was going to do this with you in class. If you want to do this now, if the class is feeling like it and there's enough time, do it. It would be great. So basically, 2 people would be students, or if there's not enough people, you could do 2 people in a group. One is the teacher, one is the student, but you want to try to do the plural commands too to talk to 2 people. So ideally, get into grupos de tres o cuatro. You can move around the room and find a place that's comfortable for your group. But try to work on this activity to practice your expresiones de emergencia. Switch being teacher too. So have one person be the teacher and then switch around and just say the commands. And then the students should actually act out the commands. So if it says escribe or escriban, pretend that you're writing. Okay, so remember your tarea. You just want to do your 2 Quizlet activities. You can choose and then get ready for your quiz for tomorrow. Muchas gracias por tu atención y por tu paciencia. Nos vemos muy pronto, estudiantes. I already miss you.